Wexaukee Amateur Radio Club meeting, August 1st, 2024.
So total income 144. Rent for the post office box is $182. Utilities to BOB $23.25. Miscellaneous, I'd have to look at $207.13 anyway. What's going on here? Well, anyway, there's $20 that miscellaneous is for our renewal on our tax exemption for the state.
The what?
Yeah, tax exemption
The
for the state.
registration.
And then the federal, that was already done, I know, a month or two ago by, like, you know, you can go into the site and do that. Anyway, you know, the details on the other sheet, do you have any questions on the detail? We'll switch over to it if you do. I guess not.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Tom,
Support.
second, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I got a question. Did that porta john, did that get paid out of that anywhere?
I did write a check for it, I remember that. I don't know if it's this month or can you switch over to the other?
I think it was last month.
I think it was. Miscellaneous.
I'm pretty sure.
130. Oh, the $132 was brandy, and $55.13 was shooter repair, and this, and then $20 was the state. So it was the month before, but I do remember writing the check.
Thank you, Lee, for your good work. President's report. I have a few things here. Oh, I was to throw this idea out. We don't have to act on it, but think about it for a few months. I've been learning a lot from CAMS, by the way I joined. So I'm not a fly boy, I'm a fly child, but I'm getting there.
Did you get even AMA?
They raise a lot of money at their big event, which is coming up. Date? September 1st. And they don't charge admission. And they raise a lot of money. It's all donation.
Yeah.
Think about it. There are people that I think would come with a swap, throw a $20 bill in, $10 bill. Just think about it. I asked him if that works, and he says they make a lot of money. So, just something to think about. All right, Wings and Wheels, August 24. I need a volunteer to oversee the setup of FT8. Did you do it last time?
I did.
You want to do it again?
Sure.
And you worked probably with Ken, did you help out?
I
And Rich?
worked with Steve.
Okay, and Rich built a nice stand for the TV monitor, right? Okay, that's,
Aren't we doing? Is that the day we're doing this special event?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I had accepted doing FT8 for the special event.
okay. Speaking of special event, Ken, come on up and tell us what we're going to be doing and show us some show and tell. While he's coming up, Bob Mann, our member, WALHP from Buchanan, way down in the Banana Belt, he'll bring the SSB station and antennas. I'll have a CW station there, and,
They're looking forward to it.
okay, good.
Just briefly, we're going to do a special event for Wings and Wheels. We're going to do single sideband. We're going to do FT8 and CW. We're starting out really small. We didn't purchase a lot of cards. We don't want to make it difficult the first year. So we're basically going to do 100 contacts. 50 single sideband. We'll probably do 20 CW, 20 FT8, and then we'll probably do some on the repeater. And that's the way we can involve some of the kids and some of the people who are interested. We can put them on a handy-talkie and they can make a contact with somebody. So
That's cool.
yep.
Yeah.
So Steve is going to be working sideband. So he's got some logging software I think you're going to use, or are you just going to do it by hand, you think? Because I can do hand logging. I can get the password for the club.
Sure.
And
Did we talk about having people do it from other sites? If we're gonna do that, then I would say no on dog.
no, I think we'll just do it from the Wings and Wheels.
Okay.
I mean, we were talking about it before that if other people were not coming to Wings and Wheels, they could actually make a few contacts from home.
That would be cool. I'll set it
But
up. I'll
for
just-
this first year, let's try to keep it as simple as we can. So that's the plan. If you do want to make some contacts, come to the Wings and Wheels event, and Steve can put you on the radio, and or if you're interested in the CW or FT8, Lee can show you how it's going to happen. I don't know who's going to do CW. If you're going to volunteer and do that piece of it, we do have had some cards printed up. I talked to Keith and I found some artwork on Facebook. So I went ahead and used that. I'll pass that card around. Again, kept it really simple. We didn't have to do a whole lot of setup. It's just color on one side. So the cards only cost $50 for 100. So we got a really good deal on those. I plan on doing those, once we get everything logged in. I'm retired. I don't have a whole lot to do, so I can sit down in my shack and fill all those out and get them out.
That's a nice card, yeah.
It turned out really nice.
Yeah.
It turned out really nice. Got them done over at Cadillac Printing. I'm gonna put in a pitch for them. I get all my cards printed there, and they do a really good job. They're all cut and ready to go. So if anybody has any questions, that's pretty much the format.
They are.
Thanks, Ken. One thing we want to do with Wings and Wheels, kind of like what we do with Field Day. Anybody who wants to jump in and operate a position can jump in. We don't want anybody to have to sit there for 4 hours.
Don't see that.
So if you come and you want to sit down at the sideband or the FT8, just let somebody know who's there that you're ready to take a few and have some fun. We also want people that are operating to be able to go enjoy the rest of Wings and Wheels. Keith, would you tell us a little bit about the demonstration discovery?
Sure, if you make a call.
By the way, this Keith is the one that's the brains behind, and this is a great event for our community.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Lynn. So last year we had the pancake breakfast, the fly-in,
That was great.
the classic car show, and then the career booths where people learn about careers in aviation. This year we're going to try to add a couple of new things, a discovery zone, which is more, it's not about jobs per se, it's about how does aviation work? What makes an airplane wing lift? How are runways numbered according to the compass and so forth? So it's more of a learning area. If we do this, we might move the radio group over to the discovery zone because it's more of a discovery thing. It'll still have access, it'll be right on the end, you'll have access to put antennas up on the side. We're also going to try to do a drone zone, which will be between two of the bigger hangars. And there's a number of groups, I think Michigan State Police, Emergency Management Operations Team, maybe Northwestern Michigan College. They, Prine and Newhoff, which is our engineering consulting group, they use drones for survey work. So they would be able to demonstrate the drones to the kids there. We won't let the kids fly the drones because it's kind of a busy day with a lot of aircraft and all that. But I know emergency management wants to set up a thing where they put, I don't know, a dog or something under a blanket and then fly the drone and show how they can see the heat signature of that object. Even though it's covered up, they can still identify it with the drone.
That's cool.
So those are the two things that we're looking to add, the discovery zone and the drone zone.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you can't find a dog, Jeff said he could be underneath the blanket there.
I'll be there.
I'd hate to do that to the dog.
But Jeff, it's
Poor dog.
open.
Amen, brother.
Keith,
Question.
you mentioned about moving the hands. Would you move the airplane club?
Probably, because that's more about learning how to fly, not necessarily a career in flying. The one thing is they don't want the jet to this year.
We told him he can't do it. In fact, he strained it through a tree at the show after the meet.
That's
So
too bad.
it's pretty impressive. I'll have to show you the video.
It's about $12,000, too
But
bad.
yeah, we're going to keep the two together.
Okay, because we have common members. That's the only reason I asked.
I don't know if we're going to be able to we had 3 tents for the 2 groups. I don't know if we're going to still be able to do that because we have a couple extra. We have the National Weather Service, we have the Prime and Newhoff, and we had a couple others that would join in.
We can cut back on their display. So.
Yeah, and it seems that you've got more exhibitors this year and also more planes, including a Huey helicopter.
Yeah, we have 3 helicopters. All of them are dependent upon what their missions look like that day. We have the Michigan State Police with the Huey, we have the Coast Guard, and we have Customs and Border Protection. And I just heard a story, Customs and Border Protection stopped by this week for something else, but it's the same guy that does the booth for us. And I don't know if you heard about the police officer that was killed down in the Detroit area a couple of weeks ago, and the guy rode off on a bicycle and they were searching for him. Well, he was tasked onto that operation to try to find the guy. And they have the regular helicopters, which look like military helicopters. And the one that he came in on looked like Channel 9 and 10 News or something. He goes, yeah, we have unmarked units, just like the police. And so he flew in and he said, I was flying this helicopter down to Detroit. We had a tip of kind of where the area was that this gentleman was that shot the police officer, and he spotted him about this much of his head above a brick wall on the front porch of a house in Detroit. Wow. The helicopter was 3 miles away, and he spotted him.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty impressive with what capability they have. So we have those. We have a King Air and a Pilatus, which will be Guardian Flight and North Flight Aeromed, both medical units. We have a little twin engine, which is a cool little twin engine DNR, flies for their work. And then we're going to have a couple of kind of oddballs. We've got a CB, which is a float plane, and maybe a Navion, which is it's basically built by North American Aviation in 1947. It was a follow-on to the P-51 Mustang. So if you look at it, it was meant to be sort of both military and civilian aircraft, but the tail, here, the way it stands, canopy, it all looks like the P-51. So we got a number of things.
Yeah. Tell your friends about it. It's absolutely free. Everything's free, and if you get friends with kids, or if you've got kids or grandkids, bring them out. It's a great event.
Can I have one thing?
Sure.
We also, starting Monday through Friday of next week, we have a summer camp it's a summer aviation camp where kids learn about careers. We want to use that as a model for something with the amateur radio group, so maybe at some point we can set up a summer camp where we have a week-long thing where kids get to come and learn about amateur radio. So if anyone wants to stop by at any time next week, you can come and observe. We're only going to have 14 kids this first session, but any ideas you got that you might want to then take back for an amateur radio session, I would greatly appreciate it, because I think it would be really cool to do that.
Keith, weather permitting, are they doing airplanes for the kids on
So,
Wheels and Wheels?
the group that's putting this on, they actually have a flight school in Plainwell. And so they did this school in Ludington last year. Each kid got 2 hours of flight time per day.
Wow.
The camp cost $565 per kid.
Well, I'm only 12.
So this year, when we said no, that doesn't fly. So we have the EAA Young Eagles coming hopefully Friday after the last session. And then they will get, a 20-30-minute ride through the Young Eagles program.
That's for the camp.
For the camp. And our program is $50 per kid because we eliminated a lot of.
But for Wings and Wheels last year, I thought they were going to do.
They did, Wings and Wheels, we're going to plan on having Young Eagles also. Last year, the ceilings were too low.
That's what it is. So last year it didn't work.
It all depends on whether all the weather is that day.
Thank you.
Setup begins 4 p.m. Friday and also before 8 a.m. Saturday. There's a pancake breakfast. It's really great. It's a good time. So, festival races coming up. It's going to be bigger and better this year. They're adding some a kids fun run and a swim event. We don't have to be involved in those, but we are involved in the races. Tom, what do we need to know?
Well, I've already talked to Reddick. It's exactly the same course as last year. If you sign up, if you like the position that you were in, I'll put you there. It didn't change as far as the points. So I can use all the way up I can get. It went out very well. They were appreciative of us last year. So.
Okay, if you want to volunteer during the break, see Tom, sign up.
There's a sheet going around.
Okay. Let's see, what else? Just a point of information, I didn't know this, but I found out about it. If you're under 18, thinking of kids that might be asking about ham radio, they have waived the $35 fee to get a license.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're under 18, it's free, and they're also telling all VECs that they only charge $5 to take the test. Gordy?
I thought that they had to pay and then they got reimbursed. Let's
That
make
could
sure
be.
we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It
I'll
could
follow
be.
up on that.
Follow up, but the bottom line is it's not going to cost them $35 to get a license. So, open mic. Seems like somebody needed this. Mention something. Gordy?
I did check on that Kenwood repeater. It's ready. So whenever we want to make a move on.
Do we need to take a vote on that?
Yes.
I make a motion we purchase that.
Second.
Okay, so that everybody knows, what is it we're going to purchase, Gordy?
Kenwood the Kenwood TSK 750 repeater is the same as what we've got now, just a couple serial number alliterations newer. Programming is identical, software is identical to what we got. So it'll be, what we'll do is we'll take the new controller of that repeater, I will build it up, we'll put that in place, then I'll take the old repeater out and the old controller out, refurb that and get that ready to go back up.
We'll have both on site and be able to switch physically if necessary.
And what does it cost?
$650.
We've got a motion, seconded, approved. Well, I think we already got one. Second?
Who seconded it?
Who said? Okay, Jeff seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor of purchasing the Kenwood repeater for 600 plus, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we've got another repeater. Thanks.
I'll make a phone call to find out who made the check out to, we'll go from there.
Thanks, Gordy. Open mic. It's the Keith Show.
Just so everyone knows, a week from Saturday, August 10th, is the summer block party, the Mitchell Street Summer Block Party. This year, we are going to take an aircraft and taxi it down from the airport and have it in the middle of Mitchell Street. So if anyone wants to go down and see it. But if you go there, maybe think of ideas that the club could do in the future. They're looking for nonprofits and various organizations, local organizations, to have activities and events there at the block party. So it might be something in the future that the club could be involved with also.
Maybe by then, with Randy, we can have that trailer for our emergency services communication center, have that there.
That would be great.
Okay. Any other comments from anybody? All right, you see the club activities, pretty much know all of them. Just want to give a little push for the club picnic. If you've never been to a club picnic, you're missing something. It's just a lot of fun, good food, and you always go home with a really valuable gift.
Yeah.
I can't tell you ahead of time, but it's pretty valuable.
You better pick your feet up because you're standing.
We need net controls for the omnibus net for August. Who wants to do August 8th?
I'll do the 22nd.
Steve, the 22nd. Anybody want to volunteer for one?
To be honest with you,
Tom, August 8th. I'll take the 15th. All right, August 29th. We got them covered, thank you. Old business, I was gonna deal with the repeater, but we've already bought one, so we don't need to do it. Any new business? I don't have any. Before we take our break, yes?
I would like to mention, I'll follow up on buying a digital repeater from that group after November, because that's when their time is up and they can sell it after that time.
Okay,
And so I'll follow up with that later.
thanks, Corey. Before we take a break, we do have at least one new face here, Steve, WQ8T, is that it?
Right.
He's actually from here and from Canton, but let's go around and make sure everybody knows who we are. Starting with you, Ray.
Ray Hill, KDAPAI, Cadillac. Tom, W8WYB, Cadillac.
Chaz, 88, LFT, Lake City.
Where?
Lake City.
Keith, NAKRN, Higgins Lake.
Steve, WASJS, Cadillac.
KDMIR,
Jeff, NAJAB, beautiful Cadillac, Michigan.
Gordon's WACT, Lake City.
Rich?
Rich, KAMFC Cadillac.
WA8BES, Ken, Cadillac.
Bob, N8BOB.
Bob, Marion, no call sign.
Les, K8LES.
Phil, Ed Pongo, ZL.
Lee, KD8 UVN.
Brandy, KC8TXS, Cadillac.
Van WA8LKV, Tustin.
And who do you usually bring to these events?
Oh, I belong to Leah.
She's important. She brings the
She's
cookies.
important because she brings the cookies and coffee. He's sort of important, but she's real.
I'm vice president, they let me come, but
Yeah.
they want her.
Glad to have you here. During the break, get to know him, buy a ticket for 50/50, sign up for the festival of races. And that's about it for now.
Hey Les, you're an experienced taxier, so you could taxi the plane to Main Street.
Bunch I'm gonna throw out too, we can't see these.
Okay, before we continue,
Thanks for doing
You start it, walk away. and-
before we continue, I need program presenters, especially for November and December. By the way, next month is going to be Bruce giving an interesting presentation on Whisper, WSPR. Does anybody know what that is?
used
Instead
it
of that
for
big
years.
long one.
Have you really?
Frank's got
was a beta
24
tester.
bucks.
Oh, okay.
I know Joe Taylor.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He vetted my
Your
master's
nozzle
thesis.
sit on the
No
end and the
kidding.
hose puts in there.
Well,
That big long one.
I know Gordy Baldwin and he knows Joe Taylor.
See, you're 6 people away from knowing everybody.
So anyway, a lot of people in the club think you have to be an expert to present a program. And a lot of people think you have to be a dynamic public speaker to present a program. You don't. All you have to do is to be able to push that little arrow button. And seriously, I will challenge you, because I couldn't find anybody to do a program for tonight. So I'm doing it. And it's on satellite communications. I don't know anything about it, a little bit, because I watched the video. But you don't have to. So if there's a topic you're really interested in, and you think it might be of interest to the rest of us, go on YouTube, and you'll probably find 100 videos. Pick an interesting one that's between 15 and 20 minutes in length, and all you have to do is come up here and push the button, like I'm going to in a minute. The first satellite for amateur radio use, remember the name? It was Oscar 1. Oscar is a really interesting and complex acronym. It stands for Orbiting Satellite Carrying Amateur Radio. Oscar.
Still up there?
No. It only lasted a few days, and in those days, it rode up on rockets that were carrying other satellites, and it had to be a certain size and weight to serve as ballast for the rocket. The whole amateur radio satellite program is all volunteer. They hitch rides on rockets that are carrying other things up. Currently, there are 18 fully functioning satellites devoted exclusively to ham radio. The satellite we're going to talk about, or the satellites we're going to talk about tonight, are like repeaters. Now, our repeater is a really good repeater. We maybe can get 50-mile coverage. The satellite repeater up there gives us up to about 1,500 miles. And you can do it all with a handheld. It's got to be a dual band, or you can have two handhelds, one UHF and one VHF. It's a lot easier with a dual band that is fully duplex. Waxon, which is actually pronounced Ocean, it's a Chinese company. They make a dual band that you could use for satellite communications. It costs $118. I'm sure you guys with your Yaesus can do it too. The International Space Station has a repeater on it, and there's always a ham up there. And at least one club member that I know of has worked it. Tell us how it happened.
I challenged myself to do it because it's something I always wanted to do because I know it's coming down. So I wanted to make the contact, make sure I had the QSL card. Tried eating outside for 6 months. It takes a long time because there's a lot of people that's coming around. There's a lot of people trying to get on, so you have to try to force your way in there. But that was just my morning coffee. I got up about 4:30, and he was coming around. Said, "Oh my God!" So I ran upstairs, fired up my rigs up there, and I got him just as he was going out of range, and I caught him. He came right back to me first try.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, it was. I still get goosebumps thinking
that is
fun.
fascinating. Yeah, that's cool.
There is a repeater on there also,
Where?
on the space station.
Oh yeah.
Because I work there once a month.
Do you really? That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to look at now this expert, which is not me. Sit back and relax and enjoy.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Hold on.
Volume up on your computer.
amateur radio satellites. In this video, we'll go over the basics of getting on the FM satellites using the simplest station possible, HTs and
9 X-ray rover, Echo Nancy 2030, gridline QMZ.
Hi, I'm Sean Kutzko, KX9X. Welcome to the second video in a series for DX Engineering on getting started in the amateur radio satellites. In this video, we'll go over the basics of getting on the FM satellites using the simplest station possible, HTs and a dual-band handheld Yagi antenna. We'll go over fundamentals of knowing when a satellite is going to be overhead, how to track the satellite as it crosses over the horizon, recording the satellite pass for easy logging after the pass is over, and making sure that your radio is staying tuned to the satellite's frequency as the pass is occurring. So it really is true that all you need to get on the satellites is a dual band HT that does 2 meters and 70 centimeters and an antenna that provides some gain to get into the satellite. I've used a Yaesu VX6 for many satellite passes over the years with reasonable success, but it has a major disadvantage in that I cannot hear myself on the satellite downlink in real time. This is what's known as full duplex operating. With an HT that doesn't have full duplex capability, I don't know if I'm actually making it into the satellite or not because I can't hear my own signal coming off the downlink in real time. That's why it's recommended that in order to achieve full duplex capability, you either have two HTs, one that's transmitting on 70 centimeters, for example, and another HT that's receiving on the satellite downlink on 2 meters, or you get an HT that is capable of full duplex operation. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using a combination of the Kenwood THD72 HT and a handheld dual-band Yagi called the Arrow antenna. This is a 3-element on 2 meter, 7-element on 70 centimeter handheld Yagi that is very easy to hold and can track the satellite easily overhead as the satellite is passing. The Kenwood THD72 is a full duplex HT, meaning I can transmit on one band and I can monitor on another band simultaneously. This will allow me to hear in real time if my transmitted signal is making it into the satellite. One of the critical aspects during the satellite pass is to make sure that your receive antenna stays in alignment with the position of the antenna on the satellite itself. As the satellite is passing overhead during its pass, it's constantly tumbling and rolling as it goes through space. That means that the position of the antenna on the satellite is constantly changing. If you had an antenna that was in a fixed position, say for example the AO91 satellite, which we're going to be using a little bit later, that has a 2 meter downlink. So if I had my 2 meter antenna just in a fixed position throughout the entire pass, as the position of the antenna on the satellite changed, I would hear static and fading as the antennas became misaligned. In order to compensate for that and keep the downlink signal strong in my HT on my receive end, I need to make sure that I can rotate the antenna constantly as the satellite is passing overhead. That will eliminate something called polarization fading. As long as I can keep the alignment of the antenna on the satellite and my receive antenna in the same plane, then I will have a good signal throughout the entire pass. So before you can work a satellite, you need to know when the satellite is going to be above your local horizon. There are several ways that you can find out when satellites are going to be overhead. AMSAT.org, the Radio Amateur Satellite Corporation of America, has a website where they maintain a list of satellite passes. All you have to do is log on and you can type in the satellite that you're interested in finding out pass information for, and it will give you a display of upcoming passes for that specific satellite. There's a website, n2yo.com, that tracks various satellites, and you can punch in your location and it will give you information on specific satellites and when that satellite is going to be overhead. But perhaps the easiest thing to do if you are a portable operator, and as we are talking about here, is to get a satellite tracking app for your smartphone. I use an Apple product, so I'm familiar with Apple iOS satellite tracking programs. The best app that I have found out there is an app called GoSat Watch. It is not a free app, but I find it to be very feature-rich, and I like some of the displays that it has for tracking specific satellites, giving you a display of what satellites are above the horizon at any given point in time, and it automatically updates the Keplerian elements, which keeps your calendar on track as to when the satellite is going to be overhead and where in the sky it's going to be passing for you. If you use an Android, there are a couple of apps that you should check out. One is called AMSAT Droid Free. That provides good basic information on when satellites are going to be overhead. There's also an app for Android from the Heavens Above website that is very good and contains lots of information on other satellites as well as amateur radio satellites too. While it's important that you have full duplex capabilities during a satellite pass so that you can hear your transmitted signal making it into the satellite in real time, that can create a feedback loop when you're transmitting because your transmit microphone and your receive speaker are so close to each other, you'll create a feedback loop when it hears its own signal going back into the microphone, and you want to avoid that. The best thing to do under those circumstances is to simply wear earbuds or a set of headphones, and that will eliminate that problem. Another common question I get is, how do you log your contacts during the satellite pass? Well, that's a fair question. I mean, if you have one hand holding your HT and another hand holding your antenna, how do you write down the information of the stations that you talk to? For me and a lot of other operators, we found that the simplest solution to that problem is to record the satellite pass as it's going on and then write down the contact information after the fact. I use a Sony PX470 digital recorder. This records in MP3 format. It's got a USB port off the back so I can save this to my computer for permanent backup if I want to go back and review passes later. And it also has a line in for an audio source, which is critically important because I don't have to rely on the internal microphone, which can capture noise in the area of the satellite pass where I'm operating. So this comes in very handy. What you can do is you can take an adapter out of the headphone jack on your HT, and you can get a headphone splitter. And one of the splitters can go to your earbuds or your headset, and the other can be a stereo plug that plugs into the Sony PX470, and then you get a direct recording of what the audio sounds like from the downlink of the satellite as you are hearing it. Another key component of recording a satellite pass is to make sure you identify what pass you're recording when you first turn on your recorder. For example, I'll usually say something like AO91 pass on October 4th, 2020 at 1730 Zulu from EN50, my home grid. That way I know the satellite that's involved on the recording, the date and time of the pass, and I'll have great audio documenting that specific satellite pass. That will help me make sure that I enter all of that information in my logbook accurately after the recording is over. Always make sure that you tag your recording at the beginning of a satellite pass with that information. It'll help you out in the long run. There's one more factor we need to consider before a satellite pass, and that's the Doppler effect. We've all heard how a passing car horn's pitch decreases as it passes by. This is because the sound waves from the moving object are compressed as the object moves closer to you, resulting in a higher pitch. As the object moves away from you, the pitch decreases. Satellites experience the same phenomena. Doppler is much more pronounced on 70 centimeters than it is on 2 meters. For the most part, we don't need to make any corrections in frequency on 2 meters. On 70 centimeters, though, adjusting for Doppler can make the difference between a successful pass or not working anybody. If you're using a satellite with a 70 centimeter uplink, you'll need to adjust your transmit frequency during the pass. For satellites with a 70 centimeter downlink, you'll need to adjust your receive frequency. Adjusting for Doppler on receive is pretty easy. If your reception of the satellite starts sounding a little fuzzy, just adjust your receive frequency down in 5 kilohertz increments until the audio becomes clear again. You'll need to set your receive frequency about 10 kilohertz above the actual downlink frequency at the beginning of a pass. By the end of the pass, you'll actually be 10 to 15 kilohertz below the actual downlink frequency. Adjusting your transmit frequency for Doppler is a little more challenging. That involves the exact opposite of receive. You start transmitting about 10 kilohertz below the satellite's uplink frequency, and by the end of the pass, you'll be transmitting 10 to 15 kilohertz above the actual uplink frequency. So how do you know when you've properly adjusted your transmit frequency for Doppler? This is why it's important to have a full duplex satellite station. When you can properly hear yourself off the downlink, you will know you've made the correct adjustments. This process gets easier with practice, so don't worry if it takes a bit to figure out Doppler correction on transmit. If you find this too frustrating at first, just switch to a satellite with a 70 centimeter downlink, like SO50, and practice adjusting your receive frequency until you have that under control. Regardless of whether you're using a full duplex HT or two separate HTs to access FM satellites, you're going to want to make sure that you program a CTCSS tone on your transmit frequency. Almost every satellite requires a CTCSS tone of 67.0 Hertz in order to access the satellite. This helps minimize extraneous noise on the VHF-UHF bands as the satellite is passing overhead. If you don't have the CTCSS tone programmed, odds are you're not going to make it into the satellite. All right, well, enough of being inside in the shack. Let's go out and do a satellite pass. We're going to do the AO91 satellite pass on October 16th, 2020 at 1745 Zulu. This is a pass that's about 70 degrees overhead, practically directly overhead here in central Illinois, and we should be able to work a few stations during that pass. So let's go.
WB9, Victor Papa Golf from Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray Neil. WB9, Victor Papa Golf from Whiskey 2 Fox, Fox Nancy 30. November 9, Kilo Tango from Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray Echo Nancy 50. Hey, John, Echo Mike 69. Nice to hear you. So, Victor, KX9XL, Alpha 8 Charlie Hotel, Echo November 63. Alpha 8 Charlie Hotel, Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray. Good morning, Echo Nancy 50, Illinois. Thank you. Radio, Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray, Echo Nancy 50. KX9XW, LOX 179, good here. KHCH, Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey. WWW, Alpha 8 Charlie Hotel, Echo November 63, Dad, hey, good to hear you. Whiskey, Whiskey 3, Ocean. Whiskey Bravo 9, Victor Papa Golf, Whiskey 2 Set Fox, Fox Nancy 30. KI7UNJ from Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray Nancy 50. Kilo X-Ray 9, X-Ray KI7UNJ, Delta 03 QSL. QSL. KX9X, Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Tango Romeo. Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Tango Romeo. That's nice to see you, Echo Nancy 50. US Alpha, Echo Mike 69, 73.
Okay, so in a 15-minute satellite pass, we worked about 5 or 6 different stations with a Kenwood THD-72. This is a full duplex dual band radio, so you can hear yourself on the downlink in real time as you are transmitting up to the satellite. You can also do this with 2 separate HTs, one on 2 meters and another on 70 centimeters for the uplink and downlink. But this HT does the work of 2 HTs built into one. I hope this video gave you a few tips and tricks on how to succeed on the FM satellites. Feel free to contact me via email or follow me on Twitter and reach out with a question if I can help. In the next video, we'll make the leap to linear satellites. And
Let's give me a big hand for my expertise. That antenna, you can get it at Gigaparts for $139.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
And if you don't want to do this, you can use a circularly polarized antenna.
Oh, sure, sure.
So if you got a right hand twist antenna, you don't have to do Doppler correction.
Now,
Polarity correction, excuse me.
yeah, so if any of you are interested, and I confess, my little bit of work in this and some other videos, it seems a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
It's intriguing, isn't it?
So I may give it a try, and I'm going to volunteer Gordy. Who else knows about the satellites? Do you mind if anybody asks you questions about it?
I don't mind if I can answer, I will. If I can't, I'll try to point in the right direction.
Yeah. So.
I have worked.
Has the equipment.
Yeah, tell them about that.
So Gordy was selling his station, and so I got with the MyStem network team and asked them, is it possible that we can get a grant to purchase this equipment, and then we can try to work with the school system to set up a program with the kids. And so they ended up writing Gordy, well, they're going to write Gordy a check, hopefully. And so we will have the equipment. There's some things we gotta put with it. We gotta get a tripod and some cabling and a laptop and so forth. But we basically have everything that we need to do from a base type station, which with the program that builds in a lot of the Doppler adjusting and does the tracking automatically, the antennas on the rotor. So hopefully at Wings and Wheels we're going to have the antenna going. We might not be using it for anything, but it'll be cool just to watch the antenna moving. I think hopefully that'll get the attention of a lot of the kids, just to watch that thing, and we can talk what it's used for.
Well, and SatPack software calculates all your Doppler shift, and I can talk about the SatPack software will compensate for all the Doppler shift, and so it'll automatically be adjusting the transmit and receive the whole time, so you don't have to develop 5 kilohertz increments in your program. It does it all. That's cool.
All right, check your tickets. See who's going to win big bucks tonight.
Okay, magic number. The last 3 digits are 995.
995. Okay, with no further ado, you can hang out if you want, but the meeting is over. Thanks for coming. Good to have you here, Steve, and we'll see you next at the picnic, I guess.
Thank you, sir.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you for watching.
About the picnic?
Sure.
It says 2 o'clock. I thought it was 1 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Okay.
2 o'clock.
Where are we?
Oh, a plea for station pictures.
Yes, I had that up.
Bill M&M's the next one, and then I don't have any. You'll have to see my shack every month until somebody sends me more pictures.
And don't think you've got to have some big fabulous shack. I like the ones that's just a little radio on a table.
A handheld and a laptop is a station.
Exactly. Yep. Okay.
Get a hold of everybody. Everybody's got stuff.
Yeah, either Fergie's or
I'm going to shut that off.